So now most attendees are online, and I would like to welcome you again to our webinar, Digital Access Everywhere, Convert all elements of your records to PDFA. This is what we want to cover in approximately 45 minutes and can give you hopefully some good ideas how to make and improve your digital records with PDFA. First, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Thomas Sillman. I'm working for LuraTech and I'm in sales, and you can see a small picture here so to get an idea who we are. So I'm on the right side and I will do the webinar together with Armin Ortmann, our CTO, and Armin will introduce himself and also give you some short handling tips.
Yes, thank you very much, Thomas. My name is Armin Ortmann. So obviously I'm the guy on the left-hand picture. And I'm the CTO of LuraTech here of the Berlin development team, so I'm in charge of the PDF Compressor and all of the other PDF and PDFA related products supplied and developed and supported by LuraTech. And I will give you a short technical presentation of what Thomas will describe in his presentation. And also, as I am the technical guy, I have some technical notes concerning this webinar here for you today. The more experienced webinar participants in our audience may know that already. You are all muted. You'll only hear us talking. That doesn't mean that we wouldn't like any questions from you, but you have to take the trouble of entering them in the questions or chat boxes of the GoToMeeting software, and we will try to pick up questions during the webinar. From our experience, this usually succeeds to a certain degree, so there is a handful of questions we can answer in the course of the webinar, and all the other questions, especially the very interesting ones that may be too evolved, or the answers for which may be too evolved to present them here in this format, we will answer afterwards, either via phone or via email to you. We will also happily supply the recording of this webinar as well as the presentation slides to all the participants. And of course, if for some reason you have a question but it only occurs to you after the webinar has ended, you are absolutely welcome to send us an email or give us a call, and we will be happy to explain or elaborate further on things, and basically on all things related to PDFA. Okay, that said, we also have a short questionnaire at the end of the webinar, which we would also kindly ask you to fill out so that we can get some feedback to work on our further webinars and improve our performance, hopefully. So that's it for now. From my side, I'll be back for the technical presentation and hand over to Thomas again for some more introductory slides.
Yes. Thank you, Armin, for the introduction and the practical tips. Yeah, as I said, the topic of today is digital access everywhere. That's what we want to present to you. And yes, as Armin said, we also want to have a major part of this webinar as a practical demo to really show you how to convert the different document types from different sources to PDFA and bundle them all together or combine them in an record, which will be a PDFA3 file. So this is a main thing, and I will try to give you some background and the different application areas. First, I would like to give you some overview or a short overview about LuraTech. So some of the attendees know LuraTech already, but also for the new ones. So LuraTech is a software company working, and this is our main expertise on document conversion. That's why it's written in bold. So this is what our expertise is, where our knowledge is, where you have different document formats, either scanned documents, but also digital documents, which can be converted. And very often the conversion goal or target is PDF or PDFA for long-term archiving, the ISO standard. So this is, in a very short sentence, our main mission. The new thing, you may have read this in the newsletter, so LuraTech is now part of the large Foxit group. Foxit is also a PDF company, so this fits together quite well. And for example, you may know, if you don't use Adobe Reader, then Foxit Reader, which is also a free PDF viewer, is definitely number 2 in the world and in the market. From our point of view, we have, and this will be the demo today, one of our main products, which is a LuraTech PDF Compressor Enterprise, which is really a production level application for converting documents and compressing documents to PDF or PDF-A. This is on the one hand true for scanned document as well as for digital documents. Also a new announcement recently, or just in October, end of October, in our newsletter was a new product which will come to the market in the beginning of 2016, which is a LuraTech rendition server, which has an even broader approach for central document conversion. And this will not be the topic of today, so we will have a webinar planned for December about this. So today also the tool we're using will be mainly the PDF Compressor Enterprise. When we talk about PDF-A, then I also want to mention that obviously LuraTech is quite active in the Worldwide PDF Association, which is the association for all the PDF standards. So our managing director, Carsten Heiermann, is a member of the board. I serve as a managing director, and this is a more general part, but also very important. Our developers are active in the ISO and the PDF Association working groups, where all the technical details are discussed. And November is really the month of the ISO, so just currently the one ISO group which looks after PDFX for prepass or PDFVT for high volume output is meeting in South Korea, in Seoul, and in November also in Basel, Switzerland. The other PDF group which covers PDF itself, PDF-A or PDF-UA, will also meet at the end of November. So as an introduction from our topic, digital access everywhere. So what you all know, and this is hopefully not really new for you, there's a lot of multi-channel input. That's what the experts call it. Now with all this wonderful digital world, and this brings a little bit chaos, so I try to put it in a funny mode with the good old paper times, and the picture shows it. So this was a logical folder, the logical record, where you had everything together regarding to one customer, or maybe you had a construction project or a project folder, things like that. This was definitely something good with paper. But now, obviously, and I don't want to bring you back to the paper world, this is definitely not the goal. The digital world, as we all know, has many benefits, and I will not repeat them. But somehow it gets a little bit more complicated to keep all the things together, to still have a logical construct, which is a logical record for one customer or for one project. So when you look into the smaller points here, so obviously there's still a lot of paper. Paper is, depending on what survey you're looking at, a little bit decreasing or stable. So it's not that paper is exploding, but there's still a lot of paper around, which for multiple reasons should be digitized. Obviously, we all know emails is daily business. Those are business documents. This is communication with your customer. You also want to have in your logical record. But sometimes, and very often, we have seen this in organizations and users, they are somewhat alone, sitting in the mail server and are not really related to all those things. And we even have seen in some organizations, I did not call it best practice, so I call it bad practice, because there's no better solution. Some organizations really print out the mails and go through via their digital mailroom scanning operation, because this is running in stable process. But I think we can all agree this is not really the way you want to have it. There's also a lot of documents which sits on the local PC. Own files is a buzzword for that. And to be honest, even within LuraTech, my PC has some files which should maybe also belong to better places. PDF is a great thing. You have plenty of options. You have plenty of tools because it's so broadly used. But there's also on the technical side a little bit of problem. So you can create a PDF with thousands of tools, and unfortunately not all of them are technical good. and produce good PDFs. So there's also an issue where PDFA can help, as we can see later. We want to touch, also Armin will do it in his throughout example, a little bit the mobile world. We all have in smartphones these days. You can easily do a picture or scan documents, let's put it this way. And this is what customers, your customers want to do, also myself. If I don't want to send a paper mail to my health insurance anymore, I would really like to have a doctor's invoice, 2 pages, just use my smartphone, send it, and hopefully get the money also sooner back from my health insurance. There's also a lot of output which you generate. So maybe you're from a bank or insurance, but you all know it as you're a customer of one bank or an insurance. They still send a lot of contracts, things of that. But obviously this also belongs to the digital and logical record. And this is, which is a little bit sometimes lost in this digital world, this logical record. And this is what we want to address a little bit, how PDFA can help here to create logical records. This is also the first idea of PDFA, so we like to call it the world picture. This picture was already designed 10 years ago when PDFA was or became an international ISO standard, and it sketches somehow the different general application areas, so you can easily hopefully think of the concrete example. So, but when we start on the top from the left, then there's incoming documents, which is PDFs, which is emails, things like that. So we want to synchronize, have homogeneous formats there, and not all the documents which are available in the digital world. In the middle, you have the typical way of scanning paper, and for the Windows application, so this is somewhat a placeholder for all the internal documents you are creating in your organization, and the host, not really the expertise of LuraTech, but I want at least to mention it once. So where you create and output managements also help to create PDFA files for the archiving. If there's a PDFA file, this is one of the benefits of PDFA, so digital signature can be embedded and makes it a safe and unchangeable document. And then on the bottom, you have the options of a safe and long-term document, which will always be reproduced on the same way. You have also a safe format for document exchange with your business partners, and obviously if you print it, then it goes to the same quality and same reproduction as the original document was. Then I want to cover a little bit the different types, and you will see this in the throughout demo from Armin in a minute. So when we start with scanning, then color scanning is now widely used. So this starts simply with a scanner hardware. So you can buy scanners, hardware scanners, small ones, large ones, for I would say reasonable prices. They are also quite fast, so you can really have millions of pages, and if you have a high professional, high volume scanner, you really can go with 300 dpi full speed, and those are really very fast. So the hardware is definitely not the bottleneck more for color scanning, and this is what a lot of customers and users are doing. And when we look into the scan world, then there are mainly 3 major benefits of PDFA. So obviously you get a safe long-term ISO standard. We like to call this digital paper. So this is one of the main goals why PDFA was invented and standardized. Then what we see in day-to-day operations is one of the major benefits. So if you just scan, you have more or less a dump raster image where you can read it with a human eye, but not really process it with software and in workflow. So full text searchability, which you can read through OCR, really adds a lot of benefit. And also one reason why color scanning is possible these days. So PDFA is a modern format, so it supports modern compression algorithms. This is on the one hand for still black and white documents. There are compression formats available, and there's obviously what we call the mixed raster content for color scans, which reaches the file size of black and white and TIFF. And the typical use cases are, on the one hand, the digital mailroom, so all the incoming, and a lot of organizations are doing it these days. So there's just a mailroom, and then when paper mail arrives in your organization, then typically it's digitized and goes into the workflow, into the processing through your enterprise with a digital way. And on the other side, there's still a lot of paper records, construction, project folders, things like that, which shall be digitized. So we see a lot of those projects, and this is where also PDFA is an optimal format. For the scan world, here this slide mainly describes also one of the major LuraTech benefits in the world of scanned documents. So when you look to the upper left corner, then you see a very generic document. So it has some text, but this text is in color. It has some images, but this can be an image, this can be a graphic, this can be a table, things which are on your documents, on your business documents. And the main trick of the LuraTech compression is not to compress everything on an equal level and get somehow a not so good document, but it's split it internally. So from the outside, it's still one .pdf file, so you get black text on white background, which is also an optimal input for the integrated OCR. The information that the red text was written in red is in the text color layer, and what's images, what's graphics, things like that can go into the so-called background layer, which can be very highly compressed. And here on the bottom, you see the samples. They all relate to a letter size or normal business document. So if you go 300 dpi in the scanning world, totally uncompressed, then what's the hardware, the best what the scan hardware can do, then you end up with approximately 25 megabyte per page. And you don't need an Excel to calculate that. If you have really a serious amount of business documents, this is not really practical. This is not working in your organization, may kill your network. So this is why in former times the practical solution was to say, okay, on the one hand we go for black and white, or if we need to do color, we do JPEG. Nothing to blame JPEG, but JPEG is wonderful for all the vacation images on my smartphone, but it was never invented as a document format. So this is not the reason. Simplest reason is when you have a JPEG, then one picture is one file. And when we talk documents, then typically, or not typically, nearly in every case, a folder, a record is 100 pages, and obviously you want to have them all together. So this is something, and when you see on the right side the examples, which has a small difference, but this is what the high compression PDFA or PDF of LuraTech can reach. You get high quality document with a size, and this is simply to remind, like you know it from black and white, and this is true for letter size. This is also true for large format scans, or think of historic scans, things like that. So this is what happens here. For the more technical oriented people, the difference between the part 1 and part 2 is JPEG 2000, so this gives a little bit better compression, but I personally think the more important value is to have it as a better quality. One more, please. And when we look to the other side of the world, where we are not starting with a piece of paper, now we have all those emails which come in with all those good and bad attachments, but maybe also very important business information, then we just here want to touch this as a sample on the low level. So email management in general is a wide topic, so we also have done webinars for this, but not for today. And basically PDFA gives you two main options, where you can start with a part 1, which basically gives you a flattened document. So if you receive a mail with a body of 1 page and 10 pages attachment, so then you will get 11 pages sequential. PDFA 3, and this is something which Armin will show in a minute, also gives more options. I really like this, prefer this, because you have different options to say, I just want the body as a PDFA file and I want to keep the attachments as what they came in, a Word sample, a Word file, an Excel file, or you can also go and have the EML. And we also have a lot of experience in this, because it's a difficult beast from the technical point of view, but now we can switch over to Armin and he will give the example, the throughout example with a record.
Thank you very much, Thomas. So we'll pause the presentation for a second and go over here to this demonstration machine. Okay, and we have created a little showcase, and it's based around real estate financing, because that's actually something that's happening a lot these days in Berlin, which you can tell by the fact that real estate brokers in Berlin, in Germany, are putting out English descriptions of the flats and houses and properties they sell. So this is an example of that.
I don't see it through. Something is working here.
Okay, I'm sorry. Need to check. Maybe. Okay, this may have gone wrong. Next try. Thomas, give me a quick feedback. Okay, so once again, this is this PDF describing property for sale in Berlin, actually quite a nice area, so that might be a good thing to shoot for. But if you're not exactly wealthy enough to finance it all on your own in one go, you will probably apply for a loan, for a mortgage, whatever. And soon enough, for those of you who know that kind of process, soon enough you end up with a long list of requirements and then basically a checklist of documentation to supply to your bank or whatever agency will provide for your financing. And so more or less from that kind of process, we'll pick an example. So in the middle of that, you may get a mail telling you that, oh, you need to supply a few more documents, like description of the object, that's the thing I just showed you, photographs of the front and back of the building, floor plan, contract draft, and documentation of the insurance, which is kind of mandatory in Germany as far as I know. This may not exactly be the same, but from what I learned from people from the US and Great Britain, it can be pretty similar. And what the customer of today will likely do is send some of that stuff directly via email. That's what this customer does here. Mr. Max has directly replied via email, and what he supplies is this here. Now let's start with the other one first. This is actually an example of a German notary contract with the arms of Berlin in front of it, and Urkundenrolle and other great German words in there, and it would look like that. And he sends that as a Word document, because it's only a draft. So far they haven't entered all the terms and conditions yet, but that's what you get as the caseworker or as the consultant for such an application, I guess. And the next thing is the insurance documentation, and that is actually an English document in this case, and you probably recognize it pretty quickly. That's something that the customer just shot with his mobile. So that's a mobile scan, basically a photograph taken with an iPhone. You see the contrast and resolution is quite okay. It's a bit of a grainy JPEG, but it's a document you can work with, I guess. And there are some other things mentioned which will probably end up in some kind of folder, or of course a document management system on the side of the agency or the bank. And then you have something like, well, you have this general description of the property that was actually a pretty nicely formatted PDF in the first place. You may have photographs supplied, which are actually real JPEG photographs and look like this. Okay, there are some megapixels here. Even the JPEGs are about 3 megabytes in size. And then you have the requested floor plan. That is obviously a scan, but it's also already been converted to PDF. But as you see from the headings here in the reader, it's not a PDF-A yet. So you have what we would basically call some kind of a format zoo. It's a menagerie of different formats. It's all the documents well there. They're recognizable. The quality is so-so, but something you can work with. But this is actually nothing you would want to archive, right? So where does PDF-A come into play? Well, as an example, and it's really an example of A, what you can do with PDF-A, and B, on the other hand, what the PDF compressor can do, because there are, of course, many, many more options, but we had to pick a few things for demonstration in this webinar. There is a first job we have created that actually aims at this folder here, where all the documents sit that we have so far, and of course, in a real-world scenario, there might be many, many more, of course. There might be the actual Urkundenrolle, the actual role of property documentation from the authorities in Berlin, the document who owns the property and who owned it in the past, and so on. There are claims that may be associated with the property, and there may, of course, be documentation of the estate of the client, and so on and so forth. Many, many things. Documentation of his income, maybe. And so we only have a handful of documents here, and we have this job in PDF Compressor. There is quite a few input formats that you can select, which I've done here. I've also told it to be kind of format agnostic here in terms of this rasterized PDF instruction, which will basically, in this automatic mode, take everything as a raster document that is a raster document already, try to preserve all the PDFs, the well-formatted typeset PDF with vector graphics that there is, but in cases where it cannot be avoided, in terms of converting to a target format PDF-A, it will go ahead and rasterize and then compress PDF documents. So we're trying to give you the best of all the worlds that Thomas already alluded to in his presentation. We're also trying to give you PDF-A3U as the output format, which is really the recommended format for the kind of thing we're doing here. I'll elaborate that in a little more detail soon, but it really has a lot of advantages, for example, when dealing with emails with attachments which we have here. Bear in mind, we had the email here with the attachments sitting inside. That's what gives it the 2 megabytes in size. So we don't have them stored here in this input folder separately, but we have them all residing, email body plus attachments, in this email file. Okay, and then for the stuff that needs to be OCR'd, we'll apply OCR. Just for the fun of it, I've selected English and German here, and all the rest is pretty boilerplate PDF stuff. And having talked enough, because I know even this small example is going to run for a few seconds on this sample virtual machine with its 2 cores. You see here PDF Compressor is processing it. We can already take a quick peek in this folder here. You'll see the first document, which is the floor plan. We can even quickly go into the okay, no, it won't let me switch the layers here in PDF-A. Anyway, this is obviously MRC compressed. You see a small few compression artifacts, but it's PDF-A version of this floor plan. And meanwhile, the other things have arrived or are arriving here as well. This is the photograph. You see it's PDF-A. The quality is still okay. It's recognizable. We did not destroy it with too much compression and introduce too many artifacts here, but it's still quite a good documentation of what we wanted to show. And the interesting thing is the email here, because you may recall it from what I showed you in the Thunderbird email viewer. Here is the body of the email. You see the attachments mentioned here in this header already. And then what we get is here this mobile scan or JPEG mobile photograph. and then here you get the converted Word document as pages in the one main PDF file. That's the one thing. But as we are dealing with PDF A3 here, what you also get here is files attached to the document. And here you see the original documents, i.e. the Word document and the JPEG file, attached to the PDF-A document. So in the same fashion that they were attached as different individual files to the email message, they are now attached to the PDF-A document, but they have also been, to the best of our possibilities, converted to PDF-A, and therefore their contents also are preserved here in the long-term archiving format of PDF-A. That's the thing to really keep in mind. And of course you can select text in here. It should also actually work here because we have, right. So you have all the benefits of MRC compression plus OCR plus what we call born digital conversion, direct conversion of digitally created documents, plus preservation of emails with their attachments in their original structure on the one hand, and as best as possible also converted to PDF-A for long-term archiving. Okay, and the next thing is, of course, you have all the individual bits and pieces here, but as we were talking about digital files, of course, this does not yet make up a file, but we have a second job here. And what this one will do, it will not try to do too much conversion compression and everything else on the existing documents, but it will take them, it will combine them all into a single PDF document. And of course, again, that's PDF-A what we have here. Plus, what we also want to do at this point is create bookmarks. This is here. So we will create bookmarks referencing the original input files in the eventual output file. I'll start this one as well. It will write to a different output folder, namely this one here. And of course, it takes a second. Hopefully, we'll have it soon enough. Right. So here we have. This is really the semblance of a digital file now from all the disparate input things. I hope you can see the thumbnail images here. So again, we have the mobile scan, we have the Word document, we have the floor plan, we have the photographs, and finally we have the object descriptions again with their pictures, with the map and their photographs and everything else. Combined as one file, and to actually be able to make sense of this and to navigate it, we have the bookmarks we have created here. They refer to, you can compare it, they refer to the original input. So again, you find the email here, you find the attachment here, you find the floor plan here, you find the front and rear photographs, and finally this Trans City real estate agent description. And these are actual jumping points, so when I click here, I'm taken directly to the corresponding pages. And just to be certain, just to really emphasize this point, this is really just one brief example of how you can do it, of what you can do. We are quite aware that there are a plethora, there are a manifold of possible workflows and possible document structures and intermediate stages and formats out there, which we'll be happy to support and to consult people in establishing. But of course, we can only just offer a quick glimpse of how you can handle these things using PDF Compressor, using PDF-A, especially PDF-A3. And I hope you've seen the benefits actually of PDF-A3, where on the one hand we offer you seamless conversion to PDF-A of attached formats, but also support you in preserving the original format, which of course comes in very handy if you have things like, for example, CAD files, where there's information that is lost when you basically just convert it to a PDF page. The same, for example, with an Excel spreadsheet, which may contain formulas and macros, which have no expression in PDF-A, and therefore it can be very, very useful to have these files embedded. On the other hand, of course, we cannot guarantee for the long-term archiving the quality of those embedded files, but we supply them as a supplement along with the best possible PDF-A version. And of course, in the process of all this, you still get the benefits of MRC compression and OCR, because that is immediately applied in all the places where it applies. So if you have scanned documents in there, they will be compressed in OCR. If you have those scanned documents as attachments to emails, they'll still be processed using MRC compression and OCR. And on the other hand, you get the best possible representation of your digital documents, which don't really benefit from MRC compression. Okay, Thomas, anything I didn't mention, anything I missed, or anything you want to correct?
No, I don't want to correct you.
Okay. I don't have to have it, by the way. Just trying to be polite.
Yes. Thank you very much. And I hope this was also the idea from Armin, to have a real complete and somewhat a real world example. So from this real estate, and you see all those different document types which are needed to make it all together. So this is really something which hopefully gave you a good impression. And I want to recap a little bit some points. So it starts here with this one, so which is then more also the technical thing. So when Armin did it, it all looked quite easy, but we have a long-term experience now with email conversion, and you never know what you get. So there are a lot of small details which are a little bit difficult, or even evil or devil, which you need to handle. And this is also where the different tools difference. And when we look to the next one slide, please, we also see this for the Born Digital. So Armin had those examples, the Word. So this is also where a lot of tools can do a hello world, very simple, with one sentence to convert this, but to do this in a complicated things, when it comes to complex tables, comes to other things you can do as sophisticated functions of Word, and you really see also the difference in the tools. We had the PDF. I mentioned this with the 1,000 tools in the beginning, so PDF-A really helps here. So the readers, whether it's Adobe Reader or other PDF viewers, they always try to show you the PDF and you feel good. So unless it's totally garbage, you think you have a good document, but this may not be true. And this is where the PDF to PDF-A conversion really checks all those technical details, also validates, by the way, the PDF file. And those things will be detected early before you put it into your archive. And it's not nice to find out in 5 years from now, hey, for whatever reasons, this document is not fully readable anymore, and especially. Also, Armin had a nice example of the mobile thing. So this is just where I want to briefly mention. This is topic of other webinars, so you're welcome also to that, for the mobile PDF solutions from LuraTech. So, but people use smartphones and you don't want to receive this 12 megapixels. So if you have looked to the images from Armin, you have also seen that there was compression and still a good quality. Think of the house, the pictures from the house, or also the mobile scan of this document, which was a good, as good as it came in, but it was now a handleable one. So this is where this is, and this is also coming back to the topic of our webinar, part of the logical customer record. So you don't want to have this sitting on some portal or mobile web server. You really want to put it again into your, let's stick to Armin's example, real estate record, where all the things, and for the customer, it also doesn't matter whether he sends you a mail or whether he sends you still a good old fax or sends an email. If he calls you, he expects you that you have his real estate record and can give him answers to his questions. No, next page, please. Armin also showed in the second part how to merge it all together or to combine it into one thing, and this is where PDF A3 comes in. So you have seen a complete real estate order with those nice bookmarks, which really help to bring this. So this is already on the basis a very good thing. Obviously, depending on your organization, this may become part of a document management or your ECM system. And just to recap a little bit, PDF A3, so you can embed anything. So the feature is quite simple on a defined and standardized way. The only thing you need to do is you need to say what it is, what you embed. And these are the main options, which are in uppercase here. So the easy one is source. So we did this presentation we are looking at, I did it in PowerPoint. Now we are looking at a PDF file and have embedded the PowerPoint, or Armin had the example of the Word file. You can have supplement, which is additional data. So maybe the documents which Armin shows, you can have data from measurements. So in the real estate example, there was not something. And also at some point, Armin will get an invoice for his house. And then this is where the alternative representation comes, where in Germany, the Sackfer topic is a very hot topic, which is a perfect combination for electronic invoices of a, human readable PDF file and a machine readable XML file for automatic processing of invoices. And Armin also showed you the PDF compressor practical, just to recap this a little bit. So you've seen you can have all the different input formats, TIFF, JPEG from the scanning world, and you can have digital things, emails, Office, things like that. Also, Armin demonstrated it, and this is something which really simplifies the usage of PDF compressor, the automatic mode. So the PDF compressor will decide based on the type of document, is it a scan document, or is it an email, or is it an Office document, the optimal way to process this, and no big user interaction needed, and will also take care of a proper conversion in order to generate a full record here. So this is what we wanted to present you as ideas and to show how this can be done with the LuraTech PDF compressor. We hope you have seen on the nice demo, complete or comprehensive demo from Armin with a real estate example, that this is something you can do with PDF compressor. So LuraTech is always happy to be your expert and partner for PDF and PDFA conversion. And this goes, as you have seen in the sample, from scanned documents through emails up to mobile solutions. So this is hopefully where you get an impression. And then at the end, as Armin indicated, we want to check whether there are some questions, or if you have one, then please feel free to enter them. Armin, do we have questions here?
We have one question so far, I see, concerning the document sizes and the duration of the conversion. Well, the one thing, of course, what we demonstrated here is really just a showcase, and it happens on my personal laptop, actually on a virtual machine. So this is not necessarily an indication of how long it takes or how fast the compression is if you really put it to a production server. Okay. For scanned documents, something like letter or A4 sizes, 300 dpi, we usually calculate with a handful of seconds per page. So you may even get down to 1 or 2 seconds per page, depending on the contents. For the mere compression, you would probably have to add something like 2 seconds per page for full text OCR, again, depending on the amount and complexity of text content. Actually, for the Born Digital, formats, things are slightly different, because it's actually not so easy to predict for a Word document or an Excel document how many seconds per page it will take. You know that there may be animated content, for example, PowerPoint slides, there may be macros and even real formulas and bits of programming inside an Excel file, which may take some time to evaluate, and this all has to be taken into account. What we can always, or what we do always recommend, is testing with your own real-world material. for which we offer basically two options. The one is you can get an evaluation license from us along with a fully fledged installation of PDF Compressor and some support by our team, and we will help you and guide you to compress, convert your own examples, and really measure throughput, measure the size on your real-world systems. Or if that is too much of an effort for you, and if you have the option to present us with a few sample documents, we are of course happy to give some advice, to run them here on our test systems, to show you the results and give some advice as to how to set up your production system. And that usually, from our experience, that works way better than having a big chart that will show all kinds of figures that we predetermine and that don't really take your real-world situation into account. Concerning the sizes, as I mentioned before, we are, of course, aiming to compress wherever feasible. Just from this quick example here, you see this handful of files has an actual size of almost 12 megabytes, and the output we generate from that has a mere 2.6 megabytes, and as we've seen before, it still has a reasonable quality. So we do aim to compress, and that of course applies mostly in the scanned and photographic inputs. There is a lot of Word and PDF input that we cannot really compress without decreasing the quality much more. And of course, if you embed the original files with the generated output, the size does not really become smaller. If you put the Word file in there, the PDF containing the Word will not be smaller than the Word file in the first place.
Okay. Thank you. Another question goes for the licenses and also for smaller license. So we have a very flexible license model, and it starts in the low end, also maybe for consumer licenses, with approximately 600 euro, which gives you the full functionality, and then goes up for a higher version. So if you go for high volume, then obviously it goes for more expenses. The question here was for the, let's say, the smallest one, and this is also available in our online shop. For the large projects, then obviously there's a recommendation. As Armin said, you can always ask us and feel free to contact us for a test version and to test this and to work on that, get experience with your own documents. Okay, that's what I've seen on questions, so we would like to thank you for your attendance. As Armin said in the beginning, if you have another question in 5 minutes, please feel free to contact us via the website, via my email address, and then, or via phone, and then we will be happy to answer your questions and work on your project with you. We would like to thank you and have a good day, and bye-bye. We hope to see you in another webinar soon. Thank you, bye-bye.